What would you do if you had just 5 weeks to create something that could change music history forever? On February 12, 1924, a 25-year-old composer sat at a piano in New York, about to perform a piece he'd barely finished. Stay with me, because this story proves that sometimes the greatest masterpieces are born from impossible deadlines and pure creative courage. It's early January 1924. George Gershwin is a successful Broadway songwriter, but he's exhausted. He's been churning out popular tunes, and honestly, he just wants a break. Then, his brother Ira walks in with a newspaper and says, "Hey George, when were you planning to tell me about this jazz concerto you're writing?" George grabs the paper. There in the New York Tribune is an announcement that he's composing a major work for bandleader Paul Whiteman's concert. The concert that's happening in 5 weeks. George hasn't written a single note. He hasn't even agreed to do it. Now, you might think he'd panic. But George Gershwin, he sees opportunity. He's been dreaming of bridging two worlds that everyone says don't belong together. Jazz, the vibrant music of Black Americans and speakeasies, and classical music, the domain of symphony halls and tuxedos. 5 weeks. That's all he has. George boards a train to Boston for a show opening, and something magical happens. The rhythms of the train, the clacking wheels, the whistle blowing, it all becomes music in his head. He later said, "I heard it as a musical kaleidoscope of America, our vast melting pot, our national energy, our metropolitan madness." By the time he reaches Boston, he has the entire piece mapped out in his mind. He frantically writes it down. But here's the thing, he's so pressed for time that he doesn't finish writing out his own piano part. He'll have to improvise it at the premiere. Can you imagine that kind of pressure? February 12th arrives. It's a snowy Tuesday afternoon at Aeolian Hall in Manhattan. The concert is called An Experiment in Modern Music, and it's already dragging on too long. 23 other pieces have been performed. The audience is restless, checking their watches, shifting in their seats. Then, clarinetist Ross Gorman stands up. He plays a single note that slides up 2.5 octaves. A wailing, laughing, impudent sound that nobody's ever heard in a concert hall before. The audience sits up. Something different is happening. George strides to the piano. For the next 16 minutes, he and Paul Whiteman's orchestra create something that has never existed before. The music is sophisticated but swinging. It's Russian and African American and completely undeniably American. It's melancholy and joyful, structured and free, all at once. When the final notes fade, there's a moment of silence. Then the hall erupts. Thunderous applause. People are on their feet. The New York Times critic writes that it shows extraordinary talent and marks a new era. George Gershwin, the Broadway guy, has just changed American music forever. But here's what makes this story even more beautiful. Rhapsody in Blue doesn't just succeed once. A century later, we're still playing it. It's been performed at the Olympic opening ceremonies. It's in movies, commercials, and concert halls around the world. That piece George wrote in 5 desperate weeks has been heard by millions of people who've never heard of most classical compositions. So when you're facing an impossible deadline, or when you're told that two things can never go together, remember George Gershwin on that snowy February afternoon. He proved that creativity doesn't wait for perfect conditions. He proved that beautiful things can come from impossible pressure. And he proved that when you dare to blend different worlds together, you might just create something that lasts forever. Every day here on History Sparks, we uncover these moments that remind us what's possible. But you know what? You have your own impossible deadline stories, don't you? Times when you created something amazing under pressure. Times when you brought together ideas that seemed incompatible and made magic happen. Have you ever thought about capturing those stories? The time you pulled off the impossible at work? The moment you discovered your hidden talent? The day you took a risk that changed everything? These aren't just memories, they're your legacy. They're the stories your grandchildren will treasure, the proof of your courage and creativity that deserves to be preserved. Writing your family's story doesn't have to be overwhelming. Like Gershwin, you just need to start. And I'm actually thinking about creating a free guide that will walk you through it step by step, showing you exactly how to capture those precious moments before they fade. Would that help you? Would you use a simple guide to finally write down the stories only you can tell? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. Comment yes for the free family story guide. If George Gershwin's story inspired you today, then you belong here in the History Sparks community. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because tomorrow I've got another incredible story of ordinary people doing extraordinary things.
These daily sparks of inspiration are waiting for you. Don't miss them.
I'll see you tomorrow with another moment that proves creativity, courage, and hope can change the world. Inspiration every day.